Hello and welcome to Top 5 Friday. I'm your host Tim Cant, and this time we're looking at the top 5 free instrument plugins around. Now clearly there are a lot more than 5 great free instrument plugins, so if you disagree with our list, rather than cyberbullying me, please, I'm very sensitive, why don't you let us know what your top 3 picks are in the comments. Anyway, let's get on with that gratuitous fun. The tenacious TAL-Noisemaker is holding on at 5. Ample Guitar M Lite is strumming arpane at 4. Something smells tunefishy at 3. Loopcloud is floating into the number 2 spot. And OBXD is enticing us into a poly romance at number 1. At 5, TAL-Noisemaker by TAL Software. Noisemaker is a pretty run-of-the-mill synth, but it's exactly that makes this one so accessible. And it's a great synth to whip up simple sounds with no fussing around. Noisemaker's interface allows you to fold panels down when you don't need them, meaning it doesn't take up too much screen real estate. But with 2 oscillators, sub, ring mod, FM, multi-stage envelopes, Juno-style chorus, delay, reverb and bitcrusher, Noisemaker has a powerful feature set that means it's still one of our top synths despite its venerable status. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's been a little while since I looked at TAL-Noisemaker, but I tell you what, really stands up still, and I keep discovering little things about this cool little synth. Most recently, I actually had a look at the presets. There's flipping tons of them, and there's some really good stuff in here. For example, oh yeah, you know Timmy likes that. So anyway, just in case you haven't seen this synth before, which is pretty freaking unlikely, unless you're a newbie, in which case, great place to start with synthesis. It's free and it does loads of stuff. So let's have a quick look at Wagwan in this synth. I've opened synth panel 2 here, so now we've got all of our synth controls available. Let's hear what's going on. We've got, we can see in the master, we've got oscillator 1 turned up and the sub turned up. I'm going to turn the sub down. We just got oscillator 1. So now I'm just going to try and make kind of like a big noisy patch to just show off some of the Noisemaker's noise-making capabilities. So I'm going to turn oscillator 2 up. They're both set to saw. You know we want to detune those saws, guys. I mean, that's what's happening. Oh, yeah. Maybe I'll take this up to the same octave as oscillator 2. Oh, yeah, there we go. Let's put some sub in there. Oh, growly, mate. Let's try ring mod. I mean, I'm not sure how well that's going to work with our sawtooth waves, but let's just give it a go. Ooh. Obviously, Portamento is got to be on for this. Oh, yeah. Might even turn the time down a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to look at the little filter panel here, and there's loads of stuff going on in here. A notch is nice for your Reese's. Oh, now we're clipping. Let's turn that down. That was too much fun. Now there we go. Clearly, I don't want to be waggling that knob all day and all night, so I'm going to set LFO 2 to the filter. I want it to re-trigger when I press a new note, so I'm going to turn this on. Yeah, there you go. So that is just a little taste of fun. And I tell you what, to finish off, here's a little bit of a treat. Let's have a little tiny bit of FM. So yeah, Noisemaker's still sick, and I feel fully justified including it in this top 5. At 4, Ample Guitar M Lite by Ample Sound. Are you the kind of person that brings your laptop with you everywhere? With Ample Guitar M Lite installed, you can be the kind of D-bag who takes their guitar with them everywhere too. Ample Sound specialise in modelling and recreating real guitar and bass instruments, and their free acoustic guitar rompler, Ample Guitar M Lite, is a showcase of their skills. With just under a gigabyte of guitar samples covering a wide variety of articulations, plus a ton of built-in stompbox effects, AGML is one incredible freebie. AGML is an absolutely incredible freebie. There's a ton of stuff going on in here, let alone the sampled content. we don't have time to look at all of this, so I'm just going to show you the basics. And the basics here are about fingering and also strumming. So let's start out with a little bit of fingering. Just going to play something simple. Very nice. So you could play it chromatically, just like any other instrument, but let's see what happens when we put it in a strummer mode. So we'll turn a strummer mode on. Now, various key switches will play the different strumming patterns. And then you also have chord key switches here as well. So we could try doing something in real time. This is pretty scary. Let's see what happens. There you go. It's as simple as choosing the chord you want to play and choosing the strumming pattern you want to play. Everything can be edited. You can put effects on there as well. It's just a really incredible plugin that sounds great and is really worth a download unless you already have some high-end guitar strumming instrument already. At 3, Tunefish by Brain Control. Developed by the demo scene group Brain Control, Tunefish isn't just an instrument, it's an exercise in efficient coding. The whole thing can apparently fit into 10 kilobytes of machine code, but despite being so tiny, it makes a kick-ass range of sounds. The oscillator is an additive synthesis-based wavetable, and you get a noise generator, filtering, 2 ADSR envelopes and 2 LFOs, plus 7 effects including flanger, delay, reverb, EQ and formant. Kingfish is a lightweight synth capable of some heavyweight tones, and being made by a group of demo scene coders, the visualizations are a treat too. So Tunefish is based around a single oscillator, which is in this generator panel here, and this works by additive synthesis, which is controlled by these knobs here. And apparently it creates a wavetable from this stuff. So let's try and have a play with this. I've got a default patch here, which is a sawtooth. Kind of modified that from the initial preset. And to muck about with this, we can use these additive controls. And these do the sort of, you know, the simple sort of additive stuff that you'd expect. You get the idea. When things get weird is when you turn up the modulation knob. And apparently when you turn this up, it creates a series of, you know, kind of like, I guess, cycles from this additive stuff and kind of modulates them itself. So you can't modulate this value, unlike all the other stuff which can be modulated, but it gives you bits of sort of different timbres. So that sort of stuff. Now, it's not sounding particularly interesting thus far. I mean, we've got some rich harmonics, don't get me wrong. What's cool is when you activate the unison voices. Let's go. We're going for 10. So there you go. A very simple way to create some really super rich lead sounds. Let's have a bit of a further play, see what we can get. So yeah, if you turn the values up to some extreme values, you can get some really great and interesting sounds. Plus there's tons of other stuff in here. So you can, you know, very quickly build up some really cool, interesting noises and tons of modulation possibilities to boot. And number 2, Loopcloud by Loopmasters. Loopcloud is a sample browser that lets you audition millions of samples right in your door, be they from your own library or from the Loopcloud store. With the Loopcloud plugin loaded in your door and the Loopcloud app open, the plugin tells the app vital information about your project, such as its tempo and the DAW you're using, and allows Loopcloud to search for samples of the right tempo and automatically time stretch them. Loopcloud's audio also gets sent through the plugin, so you can hear the results alongside your project. As of the latest update, Loopcloud version 4, you can use MIDI notes to trigger samples in the software, so you can audition drum sounds and pitch up your one-shots to see if they'll work in your track before you even buy them. In keeping with the free theme of the episode, let's look at some stuff you could do in Loopcloud without spending any money. What's great about Loopcloud is you can add your own sample library to it and use all of its features with that stuff, so you don't need to spend a penny. We've got the Loopcloud instrument here, which connects to the app. We've got that on an instrument track. We've got a beat here. Let's listen to this beat. It's kind of funky, but we could use some accompaniment. So what we're going to do is we're going to preview some sounds from the Loopcloud app over the instrument in the DAW. So we'll play back the project. We'll bring up the app. These are some of my samples I've added, and we can audition them by pressing play. I'll just set the loop length to 1 bar. And we can cycle through the loops and it'll automatically time stretch them all. And another cool thing you can do is you can muck about with this audio. So for example, we can take a section here and reverse it. And what's cool is, when we audition other samples, those changes will be reflected. And you know, we could muck around and go crazy. Slice that there. And you can muck around with the tuning and do all kinds of crazy stuff. So yeah, Loopcloud, tons of fun, even if you don't want to spend any cash. And at number 1, OBXD by Disco DSP. OBXD is a software emulation of Oberheim's OBX, a rival of the Prophet 5 back in the early days of polyphonic synthesis. The synth is based around 2 oscillators with saw and pulse voices and includes a wealth of sound sculpting options including pulse width modulation, cross modulation, noise generation, unison detune, low/bandpass filtering, and a pitch envelope. OBXD is open source and Disco DSP using a donation-based system to fund further development. So if you fall in love with a synth, there's the option to bosh them some cash. OBXD is an absolutely fantastic free synthesizer, with just one little omission. Now, the Oberheim OBX, which this is based off of, was very popular back in the day for sort of brassy polysynth patches. If we look at the the patch list, I should say, there's really none of that here. It's kind of an unusual section of sounds. Old school D&B on an Oberheim. I'm sure that sounds very nice, run through some kind of saturation though. Anyway, the point being, there's no brass patch on here. So I thought I'd just take the time to show you how to make one very, very quickly. So we'll start off with the default patch, which is, that's right, it's a sawtooth. So you can see in the oscillator panel, both saws are turned up. So let's turn one of them down so we can just hear a basic single oscillator tone. Now it's a bit dull, that's because the cutoff is turned all the way down, so we'll turn it up. Great. Now, to make our brassy sound, we want a kind of swell. We're going to use the cutoff to do that. So I realise you've just turned it up, but now we're going to turn it back down again. And we're going to turn the envelope up, so the envelope is controlling the movement of the cutoff. Now this is all set to 0 in the envelope section, so we're going to give ourselves a bit of attack and decay to create that swell and maybe turn up the sustain a bit. Also, we're going to want a little bit of release on there, and we'll have a little bit of release on the loudness envelope, which is basically the amplitude envelope, so that the sound doesn't just cut off dead when we release a note. Okay, so we've set up our filter envelope. Let's hear what that does. Little bit too open there. There we go. And you can control the movement of it with the attack and decay times here. Let's attempt to play a chord. Very nice. We'll get a bit more thickness, which I know you like, if we turn up the mix knob here, bring the second oscillator back into play, and you'll see that the OSC2 detune knob is turned up by default. So these oscillators are going to be a bit detuned. Hopefully we should get a nice fat sound. Oh yeah. there you go. And you can tweak the sound by adjusting the amount, the level of the cutoff filter and the amount of the envelope. And these times, as we looked at before. And maybe, if you want a little bit of cheekiness, you could put some resonance in there. And you can, ooh, yeah. Ooh, we'll save that for later. One more tip. If you want even fatter than that, by turning the unison mode on, you use all the voices at once. So we're going to get 8 voice unison if we turn this on. Let's have a listen. Oh, yeah. It's quite fat for basses. Let's just quickly, sneakily hear what it sounds like with the pulse. I know you want it. Oh, yeah. Bass and brass from your OBXD, baby. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for now. But if you enjoyed that cheap and nasty fun, why don't you join us for another episode of the very freaky Top 5 Friday happening real soon. Click all these buttons. Bye.